Hello, this is a recap of an American series called Clickbait. Please don't forget to subscribe. Let's begin. The beginning of the episode shows us Andrea's birthday party. Her family has gathered to celebrate the occasion. Her son Nick, daughter Bea, along with her next wife Sophia, get Andrea a birthday present. Bea is disappointed to see that the present is a planter when she had asked Sophia to get a bread maker instead. She makes snarky comments to Sophia about her ideas being lame. Nick gets mad at her for disrespecting his wife and asks her to leave the party immediately. Bea impersonally leaves and goes to a club. She drinks a lot and dances wildly to forget what happened earlier. Sometime later, she in the club's bathroom, texting a man named Woody, who she matched on a dating app. She texts him to meet her, but accidentally drops her phone in the toilet. When she gets up to flash, in the following scene, she is in her apartment, putting her phone in rise so it would suck all the water and repair itself. The next day, she drives to the hospital where she works as a nurse. She is assisting a patient as he shows her interestingly videos online to keep himself distracted. In one of the videos, Bea's brother Nick is holding up a card says that I abuse a woman. He then holds up a different card that says at 5 million views I die. He seems to be beaten and scared, as if someone is making him hold the sign. Bea is shocked and doesn't know what's going on. She rushes to the hospital's phone to call Nick, but the calls go straight to voicemail. She then calls Nick's wife Sophia, but she doesn't pick up either. Bea freaks out and rushes to Nick's work. She then asks his co-worker Matt about him. Matt claims that he hasn't seen him since the morning. Bea shows him the video, which worries Matt. So he asks his other co-worker Dawn if she saw Nick. The two find out that he missed his 8 o'clock meeting and hasn't been to work yet. Bea is now more worried than ever, so she rushes to the schools where Sophia teaches. She barges inside even when the guards warn her not to. Sophia gets rid of the guard and watches the video herself. She is as shocked as Bea to watch it. According to her, Nick left for work as usual in the morning, so the video makes no sense. The two then go to the police to file a missing report. On their way, the views Nick's video reaches 9,000 and they proceed to increase rapidly. The case is handled by a police detective named Roshan. The detective asks them several questions about Nick and focuses on the part about him assaulting women. Sophia claims Leon answers all his questions, but Bea gets annoyed. She and Roshan seem to know each other, but do not act on the fact. Sophia gets a call from her older son Ethan and goes back home to them. The boys are distressed to see the video of their father. Ethan is on his tablet trying to access the Find Me Fam app, which might show where Nick is. However, the app can't find his location because his phone is turned off. The video has reached 300,000 views in just some hours, and everyone in the comments is calling Nick a monster. Sophia tells the kids to not watch the video anymore and stop going to school for the time being. Bea returns back to her apartment to see that her phone is finally working. She finds a voicemail from Nick in which he apologizes for their fights the previous day and says there are things he needs to talk about with her. Bea plays the voicemail in repeat while driving to her mother Andrea's house. She asks Andrea if she has talked to Nick that day, but Andrea says she hasn't. Bea opts not to tell her about the situation, so she wouldn't worry. Just then, she gets a text from Sophia asking her to come to the police station immediately. There, the two find out that another video of Nick has been uploaded to the website. In this one, he holds a card that says, I killed a woman. Since the case has turned to homicide, Detective Roshan's competitive colleague, Detective Zach, is added to investigate the case. After watching the video, Bea immediately recognizes that the first two signs were his Nick's handwriting. The third one is not. Luca believes that the video might be a confusion and asks the woman if Nick is known to be violent. An urged Sophia tells him that Nick wouldn't hurt anyone, man or woman. Bea also retaliates saying Nick is the victim and the detective should do something before the video reaches 5 million views. When Sophia and Bea come out of the police station, Bea shows Sophia the voicemail she received and asks her if she should show it to the police. But Sophia wants to keep the mail on the low because Nick sounds apologetic on it, which wouldn't help their case as the police already suspect him to be a murderer. As they talk, Sophia gets a call from a journalist who wants to interview her. The two get more nervous because of the call. The video now has over 1.5 million views. A nervous Bea goes to her computer genius friend Vince and asks him to somehow find Nick's location. Vince says that finding out Nick's location is beyond his reach, but he has created a support where people from around the world are investigating Nick's case and helping to look for him. Bea doesn't doesn't believe that a mirror website can find her brother, but appreciates the help anyway. After that, she makes way to Nick's house and is approached by a reporter outside. Pia yells at her to stay out of the private property and goes inside. At disappointment, Andrea confronts her for keeping Nick disappearing for her. She apologizes and checks up on Nick's son Ethan, who seems to be calm and playing games at the time of crisis. When Pia goes back to her apartment, the video has made the news because of its popularity. Suddenly, her hacker friend Vince arrives with important information. The people in the support have found out that the video was taken in a specific kind of delivery van by analyzing the symbols in the background. Pia thanks Vince and takes the proof to the police. They begin to look for the specific van through the traffic cameras, while Pia waits outside, accompanied by Nick's co-worker Matt. After a while, she refreshes the website and sees that the views have reached 5 million. Just then, Roshan and the officer come outside, claiming that they have found the van. Everyone quickly rushes to the location with a SWAT team, only to find that the van is empty. They search around the area but find nothing. At last, the police conclude that Nick was not in the van. Back at the police station, Luca assigns text to all the officers involved in the case, but exclude Roshan because he is not from the homicide department and his services are no longer needed. When Roshan tries to retaliate, Luca asks him to accompany Sofia to her home. Outside her house, Sofia is mobbed by the reporters. Roshan escorts her inside to see that the house is being investigated for evidence. Several police officers spread around looking for anything significant clues that they can find. The kid asks Sofia if Nick has been found and she assures them he will be back soon. Just then, Luca arrives at the house and seizes all the family members' phones so they can extract data that can potentially help them with the case. The family is skeptical about the procedure, saying that they are being treated as suspects. Everyone hands their phone except for Pia, who says that hers at her apartment because it's broken. Amidst the search, Pia goes out to smoke. Roshan follows her behind for a chat. As the two talk, we find out that they have been chatting with each other through a dating app for a long time. In fact, before Pia's phone dropped in the toilet, she was planning to meet Roshan. She asks him to keep her in the loop with anything that happens with the case. Roshan reveals he has been removed from it because he is from the missing person department. He suggests Pia requests the sergeant to put him on the case and Pia agrees. Later, Roshan is searching the house on his own when he sees Ethan in his room with a tablet. Ethan says that it was his father's old tablet that no one uses anymore. Roshan still asks for it to see if it has something important, but Ethan insists he needs it to monitor the search. He explains that Nick's case has grown so popular that people have established an app called Geonicking dedicated to his search. In the app, people go around areas in the city where Nick can potentially be found and search for him. The areas that have already been searched are marked off the map in red. This piques Roshan's interest and he takes the tablet for himself. He then goes to the police station and shows the app to the sergeant, but she's not in the favor of involving the civilians in the search. Roshan also shows her the text messages that were extracted from Ethan's phone where he talks about a big fight between his parents. When Roshan walks outside for the sergeant's office, Detective Luca condescendingly asks him to go home. Roshan then makes his way to a site that hasn't been searched through geonicking and finds two teenagers searching for Nick's body. With no progress, Roshan visits the mosque and then his home. His parents had seen him in the news earlier and are proud of him for working in such a big case. They ask him when he is going to be promoted to the homicide department, but Roshan dismisses the question. The following day, Sofia makes an official statement to the reporters, asking Nick's kidnappers not to hurt him. Later, Pia asks Roshan to meet her alone in his car and shows him the voice message Nick had left her before his disappearance. Roshan is annoyed at her for not providing them with the information sooner, but Pia defends herself by saying they can go through her phone now. He asks her what problem Nick wanted to talk her about, but Pia doesn't know it either. Roshan then goes to the sergeant and tells her about the newfound information, so comes clean of his relationship with Pia before Nick's disappearance. After that, he returns back to his desk, only to find the picture from his dating profile posted all over his station. Luca laughs at him for it, and urged Roshan blames him for being discriminatory towards him because of his religion. But Luca claps back, saying that Roshan is not a team player and is using this case to get promoted. The next day, Nick's bike is found by the side of a secluded road. The police rushes there and investigated the scene. Soon an empty syringe is found nearby. They conclude that it was used to kidnap Nick. After the investigation, Nick goes to Sophie's home and is received by her mother Ruby. He informs the family about Nick's bike being found and asks to speak to Sophie in private. He asks her about Nick's voicemail to Bea, to which she reveals about their fight the night prior. Then Roshan inquires if Sophie and Nick were facing some material issues before his disappearance. Sophie, unsettled by the question, claims that the state of the relationship has nothing to do with Nick's disappearance. Roshan gets suspicious and directly asks her if she knows where her husband is. Sophie looks at him in disbelief and asks him to get out of the house. Next, he goes to Bea's apartment to find her observing the Geonicon app. He asks her about her fight with Nick only to dismiss it. Eventually, she tells him she and Nick are closer than most siblings, but he had been acting differently for a few months. They got in a fight because she called him out on it. She also reveals that in March 16th, he came to her with bruises and told her to keep it secret from Sophie. As they talk, the Geonicon app shows Nick's body has been found. Roshan and Bea quickly rushes to the location where a crowd of people surrounds Nick's body. However, getting closer to it, they see that the body is just a mannequin with Nick's face posted on it as a joke. After the accident, Roshan drops Bea off at her apartment where Nick's co-worker Matt is waiting for her outside. She and Matt go inside as Roshan drives away. At night, the detective uses the Find My app to look where Nick was on 16th March. He finds out he was at a bar and visits the owner the following day. While watching the CCTV footage, he sees that Nick had gotten into a fight with unknown men that day. Later, he calls Bea to the police station and shows her the video of the fight. Bea sighs of relief that they finally have a lead and thanks Roshan for working hard on the case. After Bea leaves, Roshan presents his idea about the Geonicon to Luca, who dismisses him at first but agrees to go on a search anyway. They reach the woods by an abandoned roads where Roshan finally finds Nick's decayed dead body in nearby river. In the following scene, we see Roshan walks up to Bea in her apartment and informs her of the dead body being found. Even though Bea had anticipated this, she breaks down crying on the floor, mourning her brother's death. The next day, Roshan is welcomed into the police station with applause. The sergeant promotes him to the homicide department, and even Luca prizes him for his good work. He then helps his co-worker to go through Sophie's socials. While working, Roshan notices a picture of Sophie with a man who looks like the guy Nick got into a fight with at the bar. A surprise, Roshan rechecks and confirms that it is the same man. In the following scene, we see Sophie at the police station. Roshan officially informs of her husband's death. She freezes on hearing the news and asks the detective how he died. Luca reveals that he had trauma, but the reason hasn't been confirmed yet. She sheds a single tear and asks them who was responsible. Luca then shows her the footage of Nick's fight with the man and asks Sophie if she knew him. To their surprise, she lies and says she doesn't. Then she's showing a picture of them together. Sophie finally admits that the man is her former colleague named Curtis. She claims they are just friends and co-workers, but after her first lie, the detective finds it hard to believe. Later, she returns home and sits all of her family down. She finally reveals to the kids that their father is not returning home. All of them burst into tears, grieving Nick's death. Then we see Bea at the police station demanding Roshan to let her see her brother's body. However, she's not allowed to see him until the post-mortem. Back in the house, Sophie tells her mother that she was inquired about Kurtz by the police, when she reveals that she referred to him as just a friend. Her mother looks at her in disbelief. It is clear that something was going on between the two. Sophie cries, saying that if Curtis is the one who killed Nick, it will be her fault. As they talk, Bea arrives at the house, asking if she can sleep for the night. Sophie invites her but doesn't tell her anything about Kurtz. Then we are shown the flashback of Nick and Sophie's last wedding anniversary. They had a party that they are enjoyed to the fullest, but by the end of it, Sophie received a text from Kurtz that said he can't stop thinking about her. Sophie's demeanor changed after seeing the text. That night, she came clean about her 3-month-long affair with Kurtz. Nick was furious at her. Back in the present, Sophie sneaks out of the house and goes to see Kurtz. He is shocked to see her but invites her in. He acknowledges everything happened in Sophie's life and asks her if she is fine. Sophie instead asks him why he met Nick without telling her. Kurtz replies that Nick messages him out of the blue and asks him to meet at the bar. He wanted Curtis to tell him every detail of the relationship, who was interested first, when they did meet each other, and how many times they made love. He claims that by the end of the conversations, Nick attacked him, but Sophie Sophie is suspicious of him. As they talk, the police knocks on his door and arrest Curtis. It turned out they had been following Sophie after she lied about her relationship earlier, but Curtis and Sophie are then taken to the police station as suspects of Nick's murder.